Having your favorite characters die isn't something startling. The creator of the manga, Ishida Sui, is known for killing off his main characters. What's more, he's doing it in quite a certain style. The writing of Ishida is so phenomenal that one always does not know whether to hate the villain or promote his cause. Each character carries a heavy burden and a sad past, be it a hero or a villain, which leaves the reader feeling blue most of the time. This is Tokyo Ghoul's story, and today we've compiled a list of the series' saddest character deaths. Hikari Kirishima. The mother of Tauka and Ayato was Hikari Kirishima. Until the latter part of the story, when her cruel fate was eventually disclosed to us by her brother, Renji Yomo, she remained a mystery. Hikari's own parents died prematurely, and she was charged with taking care of Renji. After she married Arata and gave birth to two twins, things began to look better for her, but she was soon hunted by the White CCG Reaper, Kishu Arima. At the age of only 16, Hikari died a very tragic death, and her loss scarred Yomo for the rest of his life. 9. Ryoko Fuguchi. The execution of Ryoko Fuguchi, one of the most catastrophic events in the entire series, caused a vicious chain of deaths across Tokyo. Ryoko was a harmless ghoul, and she and her daughter Hinami lived a happy life. Despite this, she was hunted down by the cruel Dove, Kurio Mato, and he was even more eager to kill her after seeing her helpless form. Her last act was to protect the life of her daughter, which Mato mocked as he did not think her capable enough to demonstrate human emotions. Her death, without a doubt, was agonizing to witness. 8. Erotic Hiroshima. Erotic Kirishima was Hikari Kirishima's husband and the father of both Tauka and Ayato. It's not surprising, in a story as dark as Tokyo Ghoul, that Erotic Kirishima was a broken man. The death of his wife left him seeking vengeance. At one point, in order to seek more power to defend his budding children, he was blinded by rage to the point that he began to scavenge both humans and ghouls alike. The tragic life of Arata was put to an end when Shinohara and Mato caught him together. He was then used as a tool for the CCG to harvest the Arata costume. Although he went to extremes to protect his children, he never saw them again, nor did they ever find out where he was staying. 7. Riza Kamishiro. Riza ran amok in the 20th ward of Tokyo, also known as the Binge Eater, until she crossed paths with Kaneki. In an attempt to devour him, Riza got caught up in an accident that turned her life into a living hell afterwards. She was used as a tool, like Kaneki, to create several one-eyed ghouls and to suffer so much that she lost sight of reality. She was also used as the host, known as the dragon, of a giant Kagune. The early life of Riza was filled with fear of being hunted by the V, and in her later stages, she was often used as a pawn. Kaneki-ken eventually challenged her and offered her the grace of a swift death, taking her in the process out of the misery. 6. Tatara. Tatara's entire personality, one of the founders and most formidable warriors of the Aogiri tree, was full of deceit. He was the most devoted individual to Ito and the king, while he appeared proud and cocky. His loyalty to Ito was unquestionable, and he fought until his last breath for her ideals. On Rishima, he met his demise at the hand-side Sidu Takizawa. Tatara did not flinch even though he was dying. Instead, with the tree, he harked back to his memories and wondered whether he had served Arima and Ito faithfully enough. Tatara's death carried a huge plot twist, and that's why it ranks high on the list. 5. Kichamura Washu. Indeed, the main antagonist of the entire Tokyo Ghoul series, the death of Kichamura Washu, was a conflict for all. Looking at the way Ishida wrote his character, there was always a duality about him. Although Furuta was often depicted as a cruel, heartless beast who had little respect for others, he was, in fact, a man who had long ago accepted his fate. Kichamura was destined to die, and so he decided to have his share of fun before that. Moments before he died, he told Kaneki that he wanted nothing more than living a normal life, one where he would have indeed been free. 4. Yoshimura. In the entire Tokyo Ghoul series, Yoshimura was one of the most influential characters. Interestingly, the character we see at the beginning of Tokyo Ghoul is not what he used to be in the past. His former self was a ruthless murderer, but he changed after falling in love with a human and becoming a father. Yoshimura spent the rest of his life assisting other ghouls until the day the Antico raid took place. He sacrificed himself to safeguard a whole generation of ghouls. Even though Yoshimura had refrained from killing others, he refused to wipe out a large chunk of CCG when it came to defending his underlings. The death of Yoshimura was truly devastating for the fans, especially in the anime. 3. Karen von Rosewald. Fostered by the Tsukiyama family after her parents' death, Karen was Shu Tsukiyama's faithful servant. Karen took on the alias of Kane to conceal her identity properly and pretended to be a child, which caused her a lot of distress. However, she was even prepared to sacrifice her identity to serve the Tsukiyama family. At the hands of Heize Sasaki, Karen met her demise. Shu Tsukiyama, who, in turn, recognized her as a woman and called her by her real name, was to be protected by her final act. Karen's life was full of regrets, but it was so precious to her when Tsukiyama called her by her real name that she couldn't help but count herself fortunate. 2. Arima Kishu. Before Kaneki Ken, Arima Kishu was the former One-Eyed King. He was a ghoul who, for the sake of creating a better future, posed as a CCG member. Arima had the goal of finding a successor to his seat. When he encountered Kaneki Ken, he accomplished a purpose. Although he had once killed Kaneki, Arima became his father and loved him with all his heart. Yet, at the hands of Kaneki himself, Arima met his end, all for the sake of a better future for both humans and ghouls. Arima's death was one of the saddest in the entire series, without a shred of doubt. 1. Shirazu Ginshi. The death of Shirazu Ginshi, who was a member of the Quinks squad under Heize Sasaki, tops this list. The reason for Shirazu becoming an investigator was to seek money for the treatment of her sister. Of all the Quinks members, he was the most gentle. Yet, his obsession with money, all for the sake of his little sister, clouded most of his sensitivity. For her treatment, he sought more power and a better rank, and this is what ended up killing him in the Rose extermination arc. He was surrounded by his entire squad moments before his death, who held him and cried for him, yet he had already lost all his senses. Even though he was loved to his last breath, none of it could be seen, as he descended slowly into eternal sleep.